Ken, are you there?
I'm there. I'm trying to hang on just a sec here. Give me a second.
No problem.
To make sure we're live here.
It says we're live at the top.
Yeah, it says we're live, but I'm not seeing anything yet. Well, I'm trying to get this banner off of here. It's irritating me. Just a second. Well, nobody's in here yet, so we're good.
That's good.
I think I'm on the right. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Hang on. I haven't done this in forever.
There you are.
Well, hello.
Hi.
So this is us. Oh,
Wow,
Donovan.
I look so close.
You look so close. Donovan
Too close.
Heavener is here. He's from Federal Ways, a background investigator. Donovan, we got people in the room here. I can't see them. Let me see if I can get these comments up here. There we go. All right. So
let's see.
Let me get off
there
this
it
page
is.
here. Yeah. There we go. Hey guys, I'm gonna mess up this name.
Quasi?
Quasi Serete? I'm not sure. Can you hear us? Everybody?
Can we call you Q?
Can we call you Q? There you go. Well, how's everybody doing this morning? We're live. This is the second time we've done this. She said it. Well, now I can't remember. Quasi. All right. Well, good morning. There might be people in here. There may not be. Facebook Live is an interesting little animal. Donovan, you know what? I'd like to get you on here live, man. Once we get some people in here, maybe if we get five people in here, I'm going to go ahead and see if we can get Donovan on the line. He's going to be one of our guests coming up. And the thing about this, guys, is that I just want to mention this. It shows that there's five people in here, but this recording will automatically be uploaded to Facebook, to the locations that we're streaming to, and it'll be on there afterwards. So the video of this will be on there afterwards. So I'm not super concerned if we get a few people in here. Traditionally, we're not a Joe Rogan, so we get maybe less than 10, something like that. But people come in and watch it later. So Donovan is on. Donovan is good to go for us to make him a phone call. That's so cool. So Donovan is going to be on our show. He's a background investigator. Well, you know what? What I'm going to do is, Donovan, you good for a call right now? We might as well just kick off the show with giving Donovan a call. Are you all good for that, Donovan?
I think he said deal.
He said deal. So let me see if I can get him on the line here, and I will call him. I got to get his phone number here again.
He said, give me a call.
Give me a call.
In the meantime, Quasi, do you have any questions or anything that you want to say or add or anything?
Yeah. I'm getting this set up here. If I could only spell. Where is... This is interesting because we can ask the questions, but we have to let the people answer. And we are actually we're not only Facebook Live on. Oh, good. Okay, we'll get that taken care of. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to get where I have Donovan's phone number here. Yeah, good.
So Quasi said, yes, I'd like info on getting an interview set up. Pre-police application.
Yeah, we got that. We're going to give the hookup for that. Give me 1 second here. I want to make sure I get Donovan's. Here we go. Here we go. Where is it? Trying to get Donovan's phone number up here. Donovan, do me a favor. I have your phone number. Just can't remember if it's an email. Go ahead and text me at the number that I have up on the screen there, and I'll give you a call. In the meantime, did you say Quasi?
Quasi.
Quasi. So the way you're going to go ahead and set up your interview process. So let me give you a phone number to call, because this is the number for Carolyn Zavala. Hang on just a second here. I'm going to get that for you. And she's the one that handles our interview prep. So she was a LAPD recruitment officer and mentor, and she was the go-to person for interviews. And so she's the one you want to call. Her number. All right, Donovan, I got your number. Her phone number for Carolyn Zavala, 626-327-2335, 626-327-2335. Give her a call, text her, whatever you need to do, and she'll get back with you. She's usually really good about getting back with you the same day. She'll set you up for an interview prep, and she's really, really good. And so far, she's got almost, I can't say for sure, but she's got an almost 100% pass rate for oral interviews. And I hate oral interviews. And I don't know if anybody else does, but I really hate it. Oh my gosh, you guys, Stephen Gould is in the house.
Hey, Steve.
Steve is here. Hey, Steve. He is, we both know Steve. We worked at Backgrounds together. And Steve is out there. He's on with us live from Massachusetts. He might be on patrol right now. And
well, don't get him in trouble.
No. I mean, his job. He's the guy in charge. He's the guy. We're gonna have him on the podcast as well. Quasi. Okay, good.
That helped a lot. Thank you.
Steve's gonna be on the show. He says he's running radar on the side of the road, but he's going to be on the show for small town policing. I mean, we're talking about rural policing, and we have him scheduled for April. So, Steve, it's good to see you. And Steve and I used to do Facebook Lives every Saturday. And if you guys want a really, really great podcast to listen to, Things Police See podcast with Steve Gould, and he's got. Steve, how many episodes do you have up now? You know what? I'm going to call Steve. He's running radar.
He has a ton of episodes, but they're all really good.
They're all really good. They're war stories. They're just great. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Right now, I am going to give. Hang on just a sec. I am going to give.
He said 90-something. I'm guessing 90-something episodes, or is 90-something the speed someone else is going in your town?
Oh, either one. Yeah, we used to tear it up on Saturday nights with Things Police See, Cops in the News. We used to talk about the things that cops were doing. But Steve, if you, I'll try giving you a call, because I'd like to get you on here and talk a little bit with you about this. But right now, and I'm going to give Donovan a call. And Donovan, I'm going to call you from my regular cell. So Donovan, stand by. We're going to get you on the line here. Oh, great. Because I want to find out. You know what? I do want to ask Donovan a question. So if I could only. Hopefully, you get him on the line. Yep, it says it's supposed to be ringing right now. Donovan, if you're on the line, I cannot hear you for some reason. Why can I not hear Donovan? Hang on just a sec. Hey, Donovan, are you there?
I am here.
Oh, I hear him.
I know. I'm trying to get you on the broadcast. Hang on just a sec here. Don't go away. Can you hear me? Hello? I'm not getting anything on the Bluetooth for some reason. Bluetooth. Donovan is on the line, but I'm not getting him for some reason. Hang on. Donovan, do me a favor. I'm going to call you right back as soon as I can figure this out. I'll call you right back. That's not cool. Doggone it. If and Steve's going to get on here. I am on. Okay, let me check you guys. I got to check the way this is. The Bluetooth is working. Why is it not giving me what I want it to do? It's connected. Bluetoothy is connected. I'm hearing something. Doggone it.
You hearing voices?
I'm hearing voices. If something's supposed to go wrong, it will. That's the way it works. Let me see what's wrong here. Bluetooth. Let me try it again. Do this. And I have some questions for you coming up too, Minerva.
Oh,
I have some surprise questions for you.
okay.
I thought I would sneak some questions in here
Okay.
for you. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do this.
I feel like I'm on the hot seat.
You are going to be on the hot seat. Going to be awesome. Okay. There we go. Got that connected. This is the joys of being live, you know.
It's my first time live, so I'm just here for the ride. Ken's doing all the job, all the work. I just show up.
We did our very first episode live with Carolyn Zavala on the podcast. And
Steve wrote, "We had some brutal technical difficulties, so aggravating."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When Steve and I used to go live on Saturdays, every once in a while something would happen. And at the time I had really crummy internet. And well, I don't have the greatest internet, but at the time I had really like bottom level internet. And man, if there was something that was going to go wrong, I'd be in the middle of one time when I was talking with Steve, I don't know if you remember this. We were right in the middle of saying, we were with a guest too.
Oh, wow.
And all of a sudden my computer just restarted.
Oh.
Man, what a pain. So that was not cool. So let's see here. Oh, I know what happened. Sorry about that. Hey, Donovan, I'm going to call you right back because I'm stupid and I didn't have the volume up. There's so many.
Oh, I hear it now.
Yeah. Steve got me this Rodecaster Pro. That's what I use for the soundboard. It's so awesome, man. Are you there?
Hello?
Hello, Donovan.
Yeah, I'm here.
Man, check this out. I didn't have the volume up. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
So I just I get no intelligence points for that. Donovan Heavener, well, you know, he got a hold of. He sent an email to me. He's a listener to the podcast, but not only is Donovan a listener to the podcast, but he's also a background investigator and in Federal Way, Washington. And Donovan, before we get started, and thank you for coming on here. This is pretty cool that you're joining us here. Hopefully, we'll get the word out about Federal Way. But before we get started, I do want to ask you: do you have information? There was a police officer that was killed in Everett, Washington. Do you have any updated information on that? What happened and anything about that?
All we know is that he was contacting a suspicious subject in a Starbucks parking lot, and there was a struggle during that. He was shot, and then as the suspect was leaving, he actually ran the officer over as he was leaving the scene. They do have the suspect in custody now. So,
and the suspect is a 50-year-old male, and there's no rhyme or reason right now as to why this happened.
Right, yeah, they have not released any information on the motive for this. But I guess the most heartbreaking thing is we just laid a Pierce County Sheriff's deputy to rest yesterday, and the information is just coming out at the end of the service about the Everett officer. So it's been a tough time in Washington here.
Yeah, that's really tragic. Anytime an officer gets killed, but it seems like criminals are just, there's no rhyme or reason. They just jump out of the car, start shooting, and I think it's always been something that police officers have always had to be very careful of and mindful of, that someone wants to hurt you. But nowadays, I think it's really, really dangerous. And for our listeners who are going to be listening to this later or now, is that you've got to go in with the mindset that you've got to be ready, because nowadays criminals are just much more brazen and they just don't care. And so I think it's imperative that we convey to all of our listeners and everybody who want to be a police officer. And I think that's true. I'm sure in your backgrounds, in your recruitment. Now, Donovan, are you a recruiter and background investigator?
No, I wear more than even those two hats. Yeah, I'm a recruiter. I'm a background investigator. And then I also handle organizing and tracking all the training at our department as well. So
Yeah.
I've got several hats on. So.
And you were going to, I can't remember exactly what it was, but you were going to do something with the podcast and kind of incorporate it into your recruitment or your background, something like that.
Yeah. So what I've started doing is, we've had our struggles, because I don't think people going into this field are ever really prepared for the background or for the interview process or anything. So twice a month now, I'm doing a hiring seminar to give applicants an idea of what to expect during the interview, during the background process, through all of that. And I do incorporate in there at the end, indicating I get nothing out of it, but that if they do have questions, they can go ahead and contact your website and you folks, so that you can, help them along the path, especially in Washington here, because if someone's disqualified from the hiring process, they do not have a right to know why they were disqualified. They just get a letter stating that they're disqualified, and that's all the information they're allowed. So, we're not allowed to provide in that, where if they have some help from someone who knows what's going on outside of the process, the PHS or the PHQ, whichever people call it, someone who has some knowledge in this area, they'd be able to tell them right off the bat why they got disqualified. So I've actually sent a couple people your way who have had those questions, and I said, give these folks a contact. They'll be able to figure it out for you.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, if we can help anybody, we're always there for you. And especially, what I'm really kind of excited, Minerva, about people like Donovan and Chief Gebhardt, and people are contacting us who are from police agencies. And
Yes.
to get that kind of makes us kind of legit, in the sense that they're contacting us
We know
because
things.
we know stuff. We know stuff
know
about
some things.
backgrounds.
No, but it is awesome because we want people to succeed, right? Ultimately, that's what we want our listeners to succeed and to start their careers in law enforcement. So thank you, Donovan, for referring people to Ken in the podcast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and the great thing is I've got a new lieutenant starting back by me here in the next week, and I'm actually giving him the assignment of listening to a couple of your podcasts that'll help him as he starts his journey in the background investigation field. So,
oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's good.
And
Maybe
if
he'll
you
get some tips from the chief.
the backgrounds is a tough gig. I mean, it used to be that you had to be in backgrounds for at least a year before you felt comfortable in doing a background investigation. And it's not for everybody. We used to have people come into LEPD backgrounds. They would be there for just a few months, and when we were sworn, and they go, I can't do this. This is too much, and so it's difficult. But I was a sworn background investigator, and I was a civilian background investigator. Is two different things. But you're a sworn background investigator. And you know what? As far as recruitment goes, Donovan, what's going on with recruitment? I know some agencies, they just don't have the money to go and recruit at different places. And then there's other places like Washington State Patrol that we did an interview with, and they just fly people out. One of the recruiters will go, "Hey, I want to go to Idaho, or I want to go somewhere else," and they'll send them. Are you guys able to? Is it something that's across the board with a lot of agencies where they just don't have the recruitment money, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, we don't have the recruitment money like Washington State Patrol to send people off and set up an office and just start, having people come in and start the recruiting process out of state. So we rely heavily on social media and utilizing some companies to help us push out the paid advertisements that are a little more professional, which helps us out. And then it's just getting out in front of the applicants, because there's one company here who does the majority of the written and physical ability testing for the state. And we're able to go right on site and do our recruiting right before the test. And we can pay an extra fee just to have applicants added right at the site onto our list so that we get their scores.
Very good.
So that helps us out quite a bit.
Yeah, there is. Is it police testing or national testing? What's the name of that company?
Public safety testing is the biggest one in Washington State, and the National Testing Network is the second biggest.
Okay, and Minerva, I think you spoke on national testing before. Those are the ones where you shotgun applications out, right?
Oh, the NeoGov one.
NeoGov.
I hate that thing. Well, because people just put in their applications and they send it to like 100 agencies, right? And then as part of the background, it's like okay, how far did you get into it with how far in the process did you get into it with every agency? Because if they have a background, we have to go review that file. So that's why I hate that thing.
And Donovan, also, do you, for the people that are going to be listening to this, do you say that candidates should limit their applications, or should they shotgun them, put them out for 20, 30 departments? Which one do you prefer?
I prefer those that have a tighter focus on where they want to work, because then I'm assured that if I hire them and they wanted to be in that area, that they're going to stick around. We have brought on some people who have, necessarily just shotgun their application out there, and they're maybe with us after the academy for once they get off FTO, and then all of a sudden they're looking for a new job. So we prefer to take them if they have a more focused attention on where they want to work.
Okay. So also PHSs, do you prefer written or typed?
Oh, no way do I want a written PHS. I can't read half the handwriting. So yes. the typed up ones are the best.
I had a consultation the other day with a with a client, and he sent me a PHS, and it was written, it was handwritten. And I talked to him. I says, your handwriting is worse than mine. This is really, really bad. And then he said that the department made him handwrite it. They wouldn't allow them to type them. And I don't understand that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know many that are written anymore. We have some paperwork they fill out when they come into their background interview, but as far as the PHS, I think that'd be horrible. Yeah.
So you guys, if you're running late or something like that, you need to turn that PHS typed in, because I can't remember how many times I was pulling my hair out because somebody handwrote a PHS and it was just so horrible. And that PHS goes to everybody. Depending on what kind of department it is. For a large department, it could go through several supervisors, the lieutenant, the captain, the chief of police. I don't know it, and they all see it. And if you've got this that's your first impression, and you can only make a first impression once. So if you turn that thing in, they're going to go, this is horrible. This is what I think. They see you, whatever you write like, that's who they're going to see. So I would highly suggest.
And if they have to write full words and sentences. Don't write like you text.
Oh my gosh. Do you still
I've seen that too.
Do you still get that, Donovan, where people instead of saying "and," they say "n," or it's like they're texting?
Absolutely, yes. And I've had PHSs that they type up and they don't use one capital letter whatsoever in the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
This, and I didn't have a problem, Minerva. I don't know if you did this, but I didn't have a problem calling up a candidate and go, I'm not going to use this PHS. Get online, get the PHS, type it out, and send me a brand new PHS because this is terrible. This is
Oh
horrible.
no, I had no problems. And especially if it was missing information, if it wasn't like a complete address, and it or like a phone number was missing or anything like that. Like I said, I usually had my candidates write notes during the interview, and I would tell them, I need you to get this information. So they would write their notes, and at the end of my interview, I would photocopy the notes and be like, this is all the information you need to provide me. Like this, we're both on the same page as to the information I'm requesting. But I had no problems saying, no, you need to refill this PHS and do it completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Donovan, you got a tough job out there, and I don't know if I would want. I struggled with some of the people we're getting in backgrounds recruiting. You get a lot of people that should not be applying, and I feel bad for you, and in that sense, that in 2022, it's difficult to get candidates. Departments are throwing money out there. They're trying to get candidates, and they still can't get them like they used to. And so I got to hand it to you, being all the things that you do, Donovan. My hat's off to you that you are in that position, and I know it's difficult.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and folks, we are going to have Donovan on the podcast. I think we said April, but I cannot remember. We have 3 episodes coming out. There's 3 Fridays that we're going to record in April. So we're going to have Donovan on the show, and I'm going to give you guys a little teaser about this. Donovan made the news. I can't remember what year. Donovan made the news because he got shot. And we're going to ask him about that by some really bad people. So we're gonna ask him about that and how that all happened and everything. And we're also going to talk to him about backgrounds and recruiting because we don't want to give away the whole show right now. But Donovan, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. And you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Donovan.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
I'm gonna while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna call Steve Gould up because he's gonna be one of our guests as well, and I'm gonna give him a holler because I want to see what he's doing out there. He's doing radar or something like that. Let's see what Steve says. Hopefully he'll be able to answer. Sometimes he gets in the middle of nowhere because he's rural.
No reception.
Yeah,
that's
Hello.
not good.
Stephen Gould.
Oh, hey, how are you guys?
Steve, we're good,
Steve.
man. You are live on the Police Applicant Podcast Facebook Live.
All right.
We're live on the Police Applicant group and the Police Applicant Podcast page on Facebook and YouTube Live as well. So, Steve, welcome.
I like it. Thank you. I climbed the biggest pine tree I could find so I can come on.
I'm happy that you got reception where you're at. Now, you're out in Massachusetts, and we're going to have you. Steve and I used to do this podcast. Tell us a little bit about your Things Police See, because I want people to go to Things Police See podcast, and I want them to listen to your podcast. Tell us a little bit about that, Steve.
Yes, I want them to do that as well. That'd be fantastic. So, Things Police See was born actually in parallel to meeting you, Ken, and the guys at Backgrounds. I got a job at LAPD Backgrounds as a civilian background investigator, and Ken and Pat kind of took me under their wing, and I would sit at lunch and listen to all these just crazy ass stories from, because LAPD Backgrounds employs cops from all the cities around. Not just LA. It doesn't have to be LA. It's Pomona and Glendale, and every any city you can think of, Long Beach. So I'm sitting there hearing all these crazy stories, and they range from like the 60s to just a couple years ago, and they all are so totally insane that
I couldn't take it. I felt like I wish people, especially because the anti-police stuff, the abolish police stuff is really gearing up. And I was thinking, geez, if people could be a fly on the wall here and listen to these guys and girls tell their stories and how crazy it really is and the effect it has on. I mean, we had countless people we worked with had PTSD from putting themselves out there and doing this job. I mean, I can remember one particularly like tough dude being behind him and kind of like popping him on the shoulder, and he jumped like a foot. And he said, "Geez, I'm sorry. Sometimes I react like that." I said, wow. And I know this particular guy had been in like, half a dozen shootouts. So I thought if I could get these guys and girls to talk like candidly, like not be PC, not hold it back, but really just talk. And retired people are great for that.
Yeah.
So started with retired coppers. It kind of branched out into, believe it or not, agencies have loosened up a bit for what cops can say in interviews now because they want it's part of like humanizing the badge movement. So they're not as restrictive as they once were. So I'm getting active people now too, and all credit goes to the people I interview. They are amazing and incredible, and some of the stories they tell me, I can't believe they went to work the next day. They're that insane.
Yeah,
so
and
that's the show in a nutshell.
And you've got quite a few shows. You've got some pretty good guests on there. You had Joe Kenda. You had the real Donnie Brasco. And if you don't know who Donnie Brasco is, you guys should look him up. And some of the stuff that you some of the guests that you have some incredible, whack, scary, fly by the seat of your pants stories. And so Things Police See podcast is like one of the favorite. You're like in the top 20 in the whole world as far as podcasts go for police stories. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I know
awesome.
I get told often when someone's like Asian contacts me, they say like, yeah, we Googled police podcast and there you were. Oh, good.
There you are. And just, hey guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them and we'll be able to answer it. We can also get you live on here like Steve is right now. If you have a question and you want to be on live with us, go ahead and text me to the number that's on the screen there. We'll give you a call. We'll put you on live with us. You can actually be part of the show and ask your questions of us for the background investigators. And Steve, we're going to have you on the show. We want to know what it's like to be in small town policing, because people, a lot of times they want to work Chicago, NYPD, LAPD, LA County Sheriffs, these big agencies, but sometimes being in a small town can be pretty harrowing too, because when your backup, you're something could go wrong and your backup is 40 minutes away.
That's too long.
Yeah. So we want to have you on the show for that.
It can be a little bit scary, especially if you're have a nice quiet 7 hours of just doing some traffic enforcement, stuff like that, and then towards the end, you're lulled in this false sense of security, and then boom, you're in this incredibly volatile situation. It's just you.
Yeah.
So it's like the problem solving has to multiply in these situations because you don't have that. It's nice to show up with a 2-man car or with backup, 5 cops right behind you, but when you're going to buy yourself time, it's a little different.
And you get backed up by the mutual jurisdiction police agencies and the state patrol, don't you?
Yeah, we have an agreement where it's the Western Mass police agreement where we're all kind of cross-sworn in each other's counties, so we can move freely to back each other up. And the state patrol is out, the state police, the stadies, as we call them, are out there too, but you never know where they are because they're just kind of floating around. So some days there's plenty of coverage and you could have backup 5 minutes, and some days, depending on time of day too, it could be half an hour,
Well, if you could, Steve, would you do backgrounds again?
Yeah, I like back. Ken, you really struck a chord with me when you told me that not everybody can do backgrounds, or it's not for everybody. Because I felt like that a little bit when I first started. They kind of took a chance on me from a smaller agency in the East Coast, never done backgrounds. And Massachusetts at the time didn't even have posts. So our backgrounds are done agency to agency, depending on what that agency standard was. So
yeah,
I had to learn all the standards and all this stuff. And I swear the first couple of backgrounds I did, I felt like I'd never finished. I was like, when is this background going to be done? And then before you know it, you're wrapping it up and you're giving it to your B2 and you're like, oh, I did one. But it starts out like, oh, okay, I get it. And then you get to the middle of it and you're like, I'm never going to complete the same thing. And then before you know it, you have 15, 3-inch thick manila folders on your desk. And you're just kind of every day going through each one. And I found it very satisfying. I felt it's a parallel to police work, but I feel like it's so important and you definitely feel like you're contributing in a very positive way. It's much needed. And the one thing I really liked about it is you are not coverage. So if you want to take a day off, you just don't come in. It's great. You're not on shift.
It's not done. All right. So you're out there now. I'm a little curious, Steve. Before we let you go, is that you're out there on some rural road with a radar? Is that true?
That is true.
And you are catching people. Now, are you in the middle of nowhere, like the Alaskan wilderness, where there's you and a moose, and there's one car, and you're getting people for the radar? Is that what's happening?
Oh, if only I could be like that. No, I actually got my chops busted by. We have a little country store I went to, and someone picked me off the podcast. They recognized me. It was a guy. I think he said he works in the ER, so he drives to the hospital every day. He's an ER doctor or something. And he recognized my voice. He said, "Are you Steve Cole with the podcast?" I was like, "I am." Oh my gosh! It's like made my day, made his day. So, anyways, he's like, on the podcast, he said he moved out to the sticks. I'm like, well, this is the sticks. And his wife's like, honey, this is kind of the sticks. I'm like, it's the sticks, but it's not Alaska the sticks, or it's not like northern New Hampshire. It's I'm a stone's throw from UMass Amherst, which houses like 50,000 kids. So, unfortunately, humanity does leak into my area.
All right.
How far are you from Boston?
Boston.
Probably hour and a half, hour 45.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're kind of far from there.
Yeah, and sometimes I call Steve, and he's just got no cell phone signal. That's how far he's somewhere.
Well, you know what? We're talking right now on this road I'm on. They just put up a cell tower in this area, so now I have bars in this area. So we're getting there.
Oh, that's cool. So now you can, if you have to make a phone call, you go just to that area.
Yep, that's it. You got to know the spots.
That's cool. Well, we're going to have you on the podcast. I'm excited about that. And you stay safe out there and don't be getting into anything. And watch out for the moose and the deer and the squirrels and all those kind of animals that you have to deal
with.
And the bears. Yeah.
I will do all those things, I promise you. And thank you so much for having me.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, Steve. Stay safe.
Bye. That was Steve Gould. Let me see. I might have a text here. Let me see. I may. Oh, there we go. That's not it. So this has just been a time where we want to get together with you guys. And like I say, this video will be available later on. But what we wanted to do is Minerva wanted to get on here. Minerva and I wanted to get on here, let you put some faces to the voices. And you're actually in the official studio with us here on the police applicant podcast. So this is where we meet with our guests. It's a virtual studio, and I like look at that. My flag is right back there.
You look good today. You actually did your hair.
Comb my hair. We normally
you usually have your little hoodie or something, and today you have a nice white shirt on.
Yeah, I might sport this look. I don't know if you guys like this look or not, but I may sport this combing my hair. My mustache
what does Jenny think? Because that's what's most important.
She thinks thinks I'm super, super handsome. I mean, I don't want to speak for her directly, but I happen to know that She thinks I'm pretty handsome. So you are correct. I did comb my hair today. The funny thing about this is when I get done, I have to go. I don't know if you can see this little strap right here.
Yeah.
So when I get done, I have this big dip in my hair. And so I got to wet it and I got to refluff it up again. But yeah, so but we wanted to let you know this is what we look like. This is what we do. This is what when we are actually recording a podcast. There's Minerva. And I just want to say, you guys, this is the first time
I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
on
I'll
the
let you continue.
podcast, Minerva has the brand new headphones.
Yes.
And how are you liking those? Those are way better than the earbuds, right?
Yes, they are. And I don't have to fight with my computer going back and forth between the mic and the earbuds, or the AirPods, but they're a little big. I feel like I have this big old helmet on my head, but I like it. I'll get
That's
used to
pretty
it.
cool.
I'll get
And
used to
just for one last time here, if you guys have any questions, ask them in the chat. Also, I can give you a call. Do you guys want to be on this phone call with us? I'm going to call you. If you send me a text to the number on the screen, I'm going to call you. I'm going to call your number and we're going to get you on this live. There's so many people that are afraid to go live. You know, and some people ask, it's hilarious because we have people that will. I was talking to Minerva about this on the Facebook and all on everything. Back, I would say in the mid 2000s, well, the mid 2000s, 2010, something like that. We used to have the police background.
Oh, he wants
that's
a
right.
Christine update.
That's right. We'll give you a Christine update. The candidates used to be much more active. I used to have forums, and it was so on fire. We would have people all in the forums just talking, asking questions. We used to have get-togethers, have dinners when I was in California, and we would get together with all the candidates. They would get to know each other and everything. But nowadays, it seems like the camaraderie isn't there. And I had a question about that on the Facebook page to say, hey, where are you guys and everything? And so I'm wondering where everybody is. And but in the secret, I get PMs, I get DMs on Instagram, I get emails. Hey, can you tell me about this? I'm like, you put that up on the page. Let's get everybody else in this answer. But I don't know what the answer to that is. Why candidates aren't as active as they were a long time ago?
I don't know. I wish they were, because it would be nice to have a little more activity happening on the Facebook page. And, I think there's one guy, I forget his name, but he posts a lot of like things about agencies hiring. So he's like our very one active person in the group. But it'd be nice to, build more of a relationship with our listeners. So please, email, text, post on the Facebook page, whatever your questions may be. I like hearing when people get hired and they post it on there. So, we like hearing those type of stories as well. And whatever setbacks you may have too, post that, because you may not be the only one going through it. Other people may be going through the same thing.
And if you're a female candidate, Minerva has an email. We'll get you to her to answer any questions you have, female specific. If you have any questions at all, you can text us, you can email. But just for right now, Minerva, this is my challenge.
Okay.
This is my challenge to anybody listening right now that wants to be on the show right now and ask questions or anything. We'll call you. I will call you on the show right this second. Don't be a wimp.
Well, we have a question here.
We have a question. What's the question?
It says, asking for a friend. I'm assuming they are the friend. How is the vax mandate affecting the hiring process as far as LA City, if it is at all? And are the candidates overseen simply because they are not vaxxed? I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh wow, I've never
thought about
that. I am going. Oh, wow. So how is the vax mandate affecting the hiring process as far as LA City is?
So
And
I
all
just had lunch with my background buddies who did the civilian backgrounds for LAPD. I just had lunch with them earlier this week, and a lot of them are conducting interviews via Zoom. So they're not even meeting in person. So I don't see how that would really affect the actual process in regards to the interview. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sworn because they have other mandates. They have. But for civilian, as far as I know, but I don't know the whole answer. I know that they are conducting interviews via Zoom.
well, here's a couple things on that. Is that the vaccine is medical, and so it wouldn't affect your background. In fact, background investigators can't even get involved with medical stuff. But so that being said, the question is how is it affecting the hiring process? That's a good question because LAPD has been in the news the last few weeks because there were three, I think maybe three LAPD officers that were fired because they refused to get the vaccine. So when you either get the vaccine or have an exemption, something like that. I don't quote me on it, but it's something to that effect. But okay, so backgrounds won't ask you if you got a vaccine. Medical may, I don't know. We're not involved in the medical side, but I don't think it would affect your hiring, but I would think because of what I've seen in the news, I would think that once you got on the job, you either have to have an exemption or the vaccine. Once you get on there, now LAPD owns you and you have to do that. Does that sound logical?
Sounds logical to me. And of course, you are on probation for the first 18 months or so. So
Yeah.
there's that too.
So I'm not positive, but I would think that once you get on the job, that's going to be where the rubber meets the road, and you're going to have that vaccine. That's just my guess.
Yeah, but that's the
But
city of LA, right? I mean, Sheriff Minerva, who's
yeah,
LASD, he don't care. So there's another agency you can apply with. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
yeah. The sheriffs aren't requiring it, but the hiring entity, the personnel department, that could be a different story. So I'm not sure. That is a really good question, though. Thank you for asking it, Facebook user. this is this is one of the things. I put that link up where it says you have to go here and give permission for StreamYard to access your profile, so your name will show up like Steve's and Donovan and like that. But when you don't do that, your question will come up just as Facebook user. We won't have a name.
So it kind of goes back to your thing. They want to remain anonymous, which is not a big deal.
Yeah,
But, we kind of want to get to know you guys too.
we want to know you. We want to know who you are and everything. Look at Evan Christopher here. Evan Christopher, what's his question? Minerva.
Says the podcast, Facebook, and consultation with Ken have been very helpful. Currently in 3 processes in various stages, just awaiting game at this point. Congratulations, Evan.
Yeah. And this is really cool. We'll hear something, and when we get something from the podcast or an email, I'll send it to Minerva so she knows that we're making an impact. And the big deal for us, guys, the reason we do this is because we want to help you. We want you to be successful, and we hear from people like Evan, who's an avid listener to the podcast. He's on the Facebook page, and he got a consultation. And the thing about the consultation, and we had a question about it earlier. If you go to policebackground.net, fill out a contact form. We can get you set up to start. I'll do an initial call with you, about a 15-minute call, find out what you need. And I've told people that we need to review your background to get more into it. And other people I've said, you're almost there. You just need to do this and do that, and that's all it takes. Not everybody needs a consultation, but a phone call, a free phone call with me to kind of shore up everything, make sure you're on the right path. That's probably the best thing. And so we've got people like Evan Christopher, and he's taking advantage of the full thing. This person, Evan Christopher, he's serious about getting hired. He is serious. He's a hardcore podcast listener. He goes to Facebook to check out what everybody's posting, and we don't get as many posts as we used to, but he's on there to find out. He's on this Facebook Live with us, and so if you guys are serious about getting hired, then you want to put yourself in the best position. Talk to other candidates on the Facebook page. Listen to the podcast. I have people. We just got a Apple podcast. They have the things where you can put up, your reviews and everything. And somebody said, "I wish this was here 10 years ago." We have somebody, and we have a lot of people that are cops that listen to the podcast, and they tell their friends about it. But we have officers who don't need background services or necessarily a police applicant podcast, and they listen to the podcast and they go, "Man, if this podcast was here 10 years ago, oh, my life would have been so much easier."
Well, they can relate. Everybody who is wearing a uniform with a badge has gone through this process. So they can all relate to what we're talking about, and what some of you guys are going through right now. So this is even more important why you guys should share on the Facebook, group page and your experiences, either positive, negative, or whatever. Ask questions, because there are sworn people on there who can also provide some information.
Yeah. So, I just want to encourage you guys that if you do have questions, or you think you have something that someone else will benefit from, if you send me an email, or you actually on the show notes for each episode at the bottom, you'll say, "Send us a message," and it'll take you it's a link that'll take you to a website for our hosting, and you can leave a voicemail for us. We'll take your voicemail. I'll edit it so your name isn't in there, and then I'll put it on the show. Or if you send me an email, we'll talk about it and things. But just to let other people know they can benefit from something you learned, especially Minerva, if you have something that you think that it'll benefit somebody else in backgrounds, share it with us. Let us know if you found something else. When we were talking about this vaccine mandate, if you guys have information on that, let us know. How are departments handling that with regard to hiring? If you have something that happened in backgrounds that you want to let us know, or you have a question about anything, the point is that if you get the information out there, we will definitely share it with the other candidates. So let us know. Evan Christopher, have you had any agencies or officers from Oregon that want to be on the podcast? Have not heard from anybody. Have not heard from anybody from Oregon.
But do you know somebody?
Do you know somebody?
Send them our way.
Let us know. What I was saying earlier, Evan, is that we are getting noticed from agencies, and they're calling us, and so that is really cool. When the whole thing is the reason that agencies don't always want to do something like that, but because they're worried that it's not official department, and so they're worried that about what's being said and things. So if you know anybody that wants to be on the podcast from an agency, any agency, we've got large agencies, small agencies, and I hope you guys have listened to Chief Gebhardt, the podcast that came out yesterday. That was our first chief. Man,
that's my favorite episode. But I know I say that they're all good. They're all good. All our guests are great. Okay. But I love me some Chief Gebhardt.
when you hear Minerva and I say that a chief of police is a cop's cop, that's an agency you want to work at. So if there's anybody that's in Indiana or wants to go to Indiana, Chief Gebhardt, he's a good chief, and he backs his troops. And those are the agencies that you want to go, that you want to apply with. Not all the political stuff going on, but these agencies that really back their cops. That's what I encourage you guys to do.
We have two new comments here from two Facebook users. So the first one says, "Thank you for taking the time to talk about the subject. I'm on the job already and know what it's like to be at work with the mandate. I genuinely have a friend who's in the process and has been clear, but the person wasn't sure if they were going to be overseen for not having the vax. So thank you once again." Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll try and get that information. I have contacts in a lot of different places, but
Ken
we should
knows
have asked,
people.
we should have asked Donovan while he was here. Doug, got it. Okay.
Well, maybe we can ask him when he comes. It's in our show. And then the next one, would like to thank you guys for helping me with the hiring process. Listen to all of your podcasts religiously during the summer. Was pretty successful in all hiring processes I went into. And today received my very first conditional offer. Thank you guys. Oh, congratulations.
All right. Congratulations. We don't know who you are because you're a Facebook user, but yeah, congratulations. And it is so exciting, Minerva, when I get a phone call from someone who wants a consultation and they go, "Hi." And one of the first things I ask them is, say, how did you find me? And they'll either say, it was a podcast. I follow you on Instagram. I'm from the police applicant group on Facebook. And so I find out where they found me for my consultation services. And sometimes some people will call me and say, "Yeah, I've been listening to your podcast for 2 days and I binge listened to all of them." And
That
I'm
was
like,
me when I first found out you had a podcast. I was like, I want to listen to this over. And I did. I totally binged on it.
yeah, that's we just published our, I think, episode 32, and they range from anywhere. Most of them are right around an hour and 15, hour and 30. That's a lot of time to commit to those episodes. And there are some that go there. You know, I try and put the titles for the episodes up kind of catchy and you know, or I went to prison for murder and I'm on parole now and I got hired, you know, something like that. But so it'll catch people. So people will actually pick and choose which episode they want to listen to. But it is exciting when we hear you guys tell us this stuff, that the podcast, you listen to the episodes, you got some tips and some hints about what to. And I've had so many people go, "Oh my gosh, that episode about the PHS, that helped me so much." And you avoid mistakes, you avoid DQs because you listen to the podcast and you find out, I was gonna do that. And I'm like, no.
Well, you know, I have obviously having been a background investigator with the city of LA, I know quite a lot of different background investigators, and it's a big network, right? So when we did the one about my BI has my file now what, that episode,
Yeah.
I asked my friends, "Hey, I want you guys to listen to this and let me know your thoughts." And they were all like, "Oh my God, yes, that's also true." And that, you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, we have people and they're like, "Oh, you know, that's all true. You guys made it. That's a good point. Thank you for letting them know," you know.
Yeah. And we hear from background investigators that our podcast resonates with actual background investigators. And I've had background investigators say, Thank you for doing this episode, because man, I can't tell you how many candidates come in and they do this, but you guys nailed it." And which is really good. So what we're trying to say is this, like the comment that's on the screen, it means so much to us, you guys, when you let us know that not only are we doing a good job, we're helping you. And what was the thing that there was a stat out a long time ago that if you hear from somebody, that the one review you get or something like that represents like 10 or 100 people. So the one person, it's not just the one person, it's the one person that reached out and said this thing represents a whole ton of people that are thinking the same thing. And all of our ratings are 5 stars and on the Apple, and it's so important. It's so important. If you want other people to find us, go ahead and hit that 5 stars. And even for bonus points, you guys, not only hit the 5 stars on Apple Podcasts for the review, but leave some words. You know, like Ken's hair is really awesome. Minerva is just amazing.
His mustache.
You know, if Minerva wasn't here, I wouldn't even listen to the podcast. Yeah.
No, and you know, one of the things that I had talked to Ken, one of the things I had talked to Ken about, and not to leave the guys out, but I had talked about maybe having a meetup with some female candidates here in Southern California. I'm in Southern California. You know, if any of you guys wanted to have a meetup, but I'm willing to do it as long as I know that there's an interest for it. So
yeah,
let
exactly.
us know. You know, I volunteer my time. You know, I enjoy this. This is a passion of mine. I've always liked helping people. Ken was nice to ask me to help co-host this podcast, and I have had so much fun doing it. But I do it because I genuinely love doing it. And I would be more than happy to meet up with some of you ladies if there's an interest, because that's me giving my time to you. And nothing's more,
Yeah.
giving than giving your time away. I'm a busy mom. I'm a single mom. I have 2 teenagers, but I'm still willing to do that for you ladies. So if you guys want to, before it gets too hot in the summer here, it's already hot in California, though it's been almost 90 degrees down here, but I'm willing to meet up, and we can meet up at a park or somewhere, open, whatever, and discuss whatever questions or issues you think you may have. So let us know.
That's awesome. I think that's great. And I know that it was a big difference for us back in the 2000s, 2010, something like that. And we used to get together at the policebackground.net, the forums. We would put out there, we're going to have a meet and greet, and we would get together, and there'd be like 15 of us at a dinner place, and everybody would get to know each other, and they would put the username to the face, and they would share stories and all that. So I encourage you guys, if you even hook up with people on PMs and things like that too. If they say something on Facebook and it resonates with you and you want to talk to them and share experience. I've had people, man, I just got, this is a story. A couple of months ago, well, back in 2007, we were meeting up on the policebackground.net forums, the candidates. We would get together, we would hang out, and people made friendships off of those. There were three of the guys that have been lifelong friends. One's in Las Vegas, the other 2 are in LA, and they just became lifelong friends from the policebackground.net. And then I just got a message a couple of months ago. 2 of the 3 sent me a text that they were at a wedding. They were at the wedding for the 3rd one in New Orleans, and this is about 14 years later that they have been friends this long because of policebackground.net, and they met. Here's another comment from Evan Christopher. I found you on officerforum.com I think it's officer.com, but after hours of looking through forums, everyone that's told me they're thinking about being an officer, I've told them to check out the podcast Facebook, except Evan Christopher. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. That means so much. And interesting thing about officer.com, they have forums there, and I have people that used to post when we were very active. They post in there and say, if you want help with your background, go to policebackground.net, and the forums there, they have every answer. And we used to have every answer you could possibly have to any question. The forums kind of went by the wayside because people weren't participating. And then so we went to Facebook. That's how we're on Facebook now. But there are people that find me from officer.com forums that the posts were 10 years ago, but the link is still up there and it takes them to the new page. And so, thank you for spreading the word. I just want to give Evan like $500,000 for his kindness. Thank you, Evan. We appreciate it and all that. So I got a couple questions for you, Minerva.
Okay, let's do it. I'm ready.
Before we get started with that, remember, guys, if you want me to give you a phone call right now, if you want to be on the show and want to ask a question, or you just want to say hey to us, text me at 213-444-6702, and I will call you. And the person that does that, we will respect you so much more because you got out of your shell and you got actually on live with us. And so, so that's my challenge out to you guys. Come on. Who wants to be on the show? I'm going to call you. But let's see here. So here's a question for you.
Okay.
Backgrounds or detectives?
Well, detectives, what unit though?
Homicide.
I always wanted to be a homicide investigator and I didn't get to do it. So I mean, I did backgrounds for a long time as a sworn and a civilian. Cumulative, I did about 10, 11 years of backgrounds. So at this point, I would have to choose homicide. I love
Okay.
y'all, but homicide is something I wanted to do that I didn't get to do.
All right. Police department or sheriff's?
Oh, police department by
Okay.
far. I never applied to the sheriff's because I didn't want to work the jails. To me, that was a big thing,
That is a big thing.
because at the time, I knew a few friends who had gone, I went to college and the criminal justice was my major. So I knew a lot of people whose interest was to go into law enforcement. So I had a lot of friends who went to the sheriff's department or other smaller agencies. But at the time, they were doing about 7 years in the jails. And the way it works is when those deputies hit patrol, they get treated like boots again. They
Mhm.
don't care that you have 7, 8 years already on the job. You have to go through a train. They actually have to go to patrol school, and then they get treated like they're right out of the academy. So yeah. So I remember I had an incident. I did a county run once. I remember it was New Year's Eve. I did a county run, and this deputy had an attitude with me, and he
Mhm.
threw my handcuffs at me, which pissed me off. Which I thought
What?
was wrong because there were like, you know, people in jail walking around. I'm like, why'd you throw my handcuffs at me? And I that's basically what happened. I was like, really? Was that really necessary? And he was like, well, you guys always come. And I go, I didn't realize this was your personal jail. And he's like, well, and he just started going off. And I was like, you know what? If I wanted your opinion, I'd ask it, but you don't have a day in patrol, so you don't get to have one.
Bam.
And that was it. I just walked away. And people
Dang.
are like, oh, shit. Oh, sorry.
Potty mouth.
But yeah, I mean, definitely police department over sheriffs for me.
Large
What about
department?
you? What
Large.
about you?
Wait. Oh, sheriffs? I could have been a sheriff. But I failed their oral interview.
What? You
Yeah.
never shared that with us.
I didn't. Well, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to say that I failed an oral interview, but it's okay because LAPD thought I was good enough to work with them. So, I would much rather work a police department because sheriffs, the sole people see the sheriffs and see them out in the street, but the sole purpose of the sheriff's department is to manage the county jails.
Yeah, see that's not for me.
Their main purpose is not patrol. That's not their main purpose. Their main purpose is the jails. So if you go in the jail, and I don't know what it is now, but it used to be like 5 years you had to spend in the jails. And then I had a friend that was with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. She was working the jail. She had been there maybe 3 years, and she finally got to go to patrol. She went to patrol, and this is what people don't know is you're in the jail for maybe 3, 4, 5 years. You go out to patrol, and you're on probation.
Yes.
She did not pass probation and had to go back. And I'm not talking about 12 months probation. She was out there for like 3 months and they go, yeah, no. And they sent her back to the jail.
Wow. So that's what I was talking about, how they get treated like boots again,
Yeah.
and you could have 7, 8 years on the job, hired as a deputy, but because you have no patrol experience, when you go to patrol, you're back to being on probation, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know a lot. I will say that one advantage that deputies who have worked the jails, well, they all start at the jails, right? But end up going to patrol, they know how to talk to inmates. They know how to talk to people on the streets because that's all they deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So that is an
Yeah.
advantage that they do have. So yeah.
It's a good education. Okay, next question is large agency or small agency?
Well, I work for a smaller agency, which actually was like the third largest agency. I work for the third largest city in LA County.
Really?
But yeah, Glendale is the third largest city in LA County. First is LA, Long Beach, and then Glendale.
But you originally were hired by a large agency.
By LAPD, yes. But there's pros and cons. The pros are, it's more family oriented, or it can be. The cons are that if you really want to promote, it's a lot more difficult to do so. I think had I gone to a bigger agency or larger agency, I know that there's female lieutenant who was the senior class to mine. And she's a lieutenant. I mean, and now
Wow.
they have 23 years on the job. So yeah, I mean, she's kind of where she should be, but it's a lot easier to promote than a smaller agency.
All
So
right.
there's pros and cons.
The last question I have for you, your biggest pet peeves as a background investigator.
When people don't complete their PHS correctly, there is a reason there's a
that.
box asking the information. We
Yeah.
don't just ask to ask. There's a reason there's a box asking you for that information. So fill it out. That was my biggest pet peeve.
My biggest pet peeve was just crappy PHSs.
Yeah.
Crappy or incomplete crappy PHS. And if I had my way, I would have sent people out the door and said, come back when you can fill out an application, because there's so many people that just do just a horrible job on the application. So guys, if you're taking your application process seriously, take the time, and I mean read it line by line, that PHS. Mm-hmm. Because there are people that put answers down and say, why did you put this answer down? Because the question specifically says this. Oh, I didn't see that. Well, you would have seen it if you had read the PHS.
And read the face page that has the instructions on what you're supposed to do. Don't just skip that page and go straight to filling out the PHS. Read there. So one of the things that I would tell my candidates is part of what I look at is how well you can follow instructions, simple instructions, as filling out a PHS.
Yeah.
Which means reading the instructions and reading the information that is asking you.
Yeah, and there's a difference in an application, because a police application is not a job. You're not applying for a job. You're applying for a career. Mm-hmm. And that's a big difference. And you have to show that you really care. Another thing is, don't read into the questions. Don't decide that a question does not apply to you. Oh, I didn't think the question meant that. Most questions on the PHS are black and white. They're yes or no questions. So don't go, oh, I thought it meant this. I didn't put down that I used marijuana because it didn't specifically say marijuana. Or, something like that. Don't read into.
It does say marijuana.
It does. Well, I'm saying that, not. But that's just a for instance. But read the questions. And if you can't answer the question yes or no, then you're not reading the question properly, because most of the questions are just yes or no. So yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
Well, I have one more.
Yes.
If you actually physically were taken to jail, you were arrested. It's asking if you were arrested, not convicted.
Yeah. I wasn't. I've had people say that. No, I didn't put down that police contact because they didn't fingerprint me. Like, what? If you got stopped by the police and they talked to you, you got handcuffed, or you got put in a police car, or you got taken to the police station. Those are police contacts. You must. But the thing where they never handcuffed me, so I didn't think it was a contact. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to put down, that's fine.
See, here's another pro about a smaller agency. I did have the ability to tell somebody, no, if your PHS wasn't correct, and my sergeant would back me up on this if I had good reason, not just because, right? But I remember I had an applicant who had his PHS for a while, and I expected more because he was in the military, but it wasn't complete. And I said, hey, you've had this for months. Why is this not complete? He was like, I just didn't have the time. I said, okay, here it is, back to you. When you have the time and you have completed it, give me a call back. But we're not going to do this today.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste my time on somebody who doesn't have the time to fill it out correctly.
Well, today it's gone a lot longer than I thought it would go. And we appreciate everybody that's listening, everybody that's going to listen to this later. We love you guys. We appreciate you being here, everybody that made comments to us. And again, if you have a question, or you have something you think you want to ask us to address on the podcast, send me an email, ken@policebackground.net. and we will see if we can get a guest or somebody that can address what you need to what you want to have on the show. So look at this. Check this out.
Donovan.
Donovan's still here. Check it out. So yeah, if you have a subject that you want us to address or somebody you want to have on there, send them our way, man, because we're always looking for guests and topics to talk about.
Yeah.
But other than that, Minerva, thanks for taking some time out of the day to talk with us.
This was fun.
Everybody that joined us today, we really appreciate you. We'll see you on the podcast, and we'll talk to you later.